Go.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Foothill Grill. This is Chef, and this is our third episode in the distance learning cooking series. Today for you, we're going to be making biscuits and gravy, but not just any biscuits and gravy. These are going to have fresh jalapenos and a little pepper jack cheese in them, just because Chef likes to do it that way. First thing we're going to do is we're going to sift the flour. Chef's way of sifting the flour, right? Loosen it up because it gets compacted as it sits. We're going to do 3 cups of all-purpose flour. We're using our dry measuring cup and our straight edge spatula that you guys learned about last week. And we are baking, so you got to measure carefully, which I don't always do. Put that aside. 2 tablespoons of sugar. We got 4 teaspoons of baking powder, which can be measured as 1 tablespoon and 1 teaspoon, because there are 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. A little salt in there, let's see, 1 teaspoon, a little bit more than that, that's fine. Baking soda also, 1 teaspoon. Get that out of the way. And then we're gonna mix in 1.5 cups of butter, chilled, cut into cubes so it's easier to mix it in with the pastry blender. Here we are back with the butter in the bowl. It's all getting cut into tiny pieces with the pastry blender. We want it to get to the consistency kind of a little bigger than cornmeal. So you just keep rolling that through there and the little blades cut the butter. It's awesome. You can also do this in the food processor real quick too, but we're showing you the old school way. All right, that looks pretty good. Get that out of the way. Now we got to add a little buttermilk. We're going to put our cheese in. 1.5 cups of cheese. Fold this a little bit. And then we're going to add in some jalapeno. So I've got some diced jalapeno, but I want to show you the best way to do this. I kind of call it filleting a jalapeno. So you avoid the seeds and the stems. Just like that. And obviously I better wash my hands after this. Stack them and go through them. Easy, easy. Nice little extra flavor in there. Oh, why not? We'll add those too. So here I'm just gently mixing the dough. You don't want to over mix it because you'll build up gluten, which you do not want in a biscuit. Pizza dough, yes. Regular bread dough, yes. But biscuits, you do not want them to become rubbery by building up the gluten when you're mixing it. So I just mixed these till they just came together. I'm gonna set that there. Get a little flour on there. Biscuits there. I just kind of form it into a cake. And we're going to cut them. Even portions. Smaller ones on the end for me. Then these go onto a sheet pan. Welcome back, everybody. I've got the biscuits in the oven. It is at 375 for like 8 to 10 minutes. It is a convection oven, right? So I taught you guys that if it says 425 on the recipe, you go 50 degrees cooler. So we're at 375, and we'll keep an eye on those. They look beautiful right now. All right, everybody, I'm gonna get started on the gravy for the biscuits. This gravy actually has bacon and sausage in it, because why not? I love bacon and everybody else does too. But first I wanna show you how to dice it. You don't need to cook the whole pieces like for breakfast, because it's gonna be small in the gravy. So just dice it into small pieces. Got the sauce pot or sauce pan on the burner for you there. I'm gonna add a little bit of oil so it doesn't stick. Add our bacon in. And we're gonna cook this, stir it up, cook it till it's nice and crispy. Do not add the sausage yet. Okay, we got our bacon, it's beautiful and crispy. Now it's time to add this pork sausage. This is just Jimmy Dean, 6 ounces, which is a half a tube that you can get at the store. Then you want to break this up into little pieces. Although you can have it as chunky as you want. You can always customize your recipes a little bit to fit your taste. But we got to get this nice and brown. We'll cook this for a few more minutes and then we'll come back and build the rest of the gravy. Okay, at this point, our sausage and bacon is perfectly cooked. But what we want to do now is get a handy slotted spoon. And you want to pull all the meat out of the pan. And I'll explain why in a minute. And I believe the slotted spoon was on your tool test last week that you all did so well on. Which I hope you Foods 2 kids know that you should be good at that test. You've taken it enough times. Okay, we're gonna set that aside. And then we're gonna start building what is called a roux. R-O-U-X, it's a strange word. We're gonna mix flour with the butter, or the bacon drippings that are in the pan, bacon and sausage drippings in the pan. We're gonna stir this in, and it's gonna make kind of a paste. So a roux is basically fat and flour, and you cook it just for a minute. I'm gonna add just a touch more flour in there. All right, then we're gonna slowly whisk into 3 cups of milk. And this is whole milk because we're going big today. But you gotta keep stirring. Because one thing Chef doesn't like is lumpy gravy. And just be careful, that roux gets hot. Keep stirring. Perfect. Now I'm gonna add a little seasoning real quick before letting this come up to a simmer. So we're gonna add a nice fat pinch of salt, and then I'll check that later. Fresh ground black pepper. And this is just a little thing I do. A little bit of smoked paprika, just to make it our own. We'll do that. So now at this point, it does not look like gravy. But once this comes to a boil, it'll start to thicken. So we're gonna let this come up to the boil and simmer, and it needs to simmer for 8 to 10 minutes because right now it'll taste like uncooked flour. But once this gravy cooks for 8 to 10 minutes, that flavor's gone, and you'll have nothing but beautiful gravy to taste. So I'm gonna cook this for a little bit, and then we'll be back. Here we have our almost finished beautiful bacon sausage milk gravy. I'm gonna add the meat back in now. And the reason I took the meat out with the slotted spoon, because if you were to add that flour in there with the meat, it would cake onto the meat and make it not very tasty. So we do it this way. Oh, it's beautiful. And then I'm gonna add my favorite little ingredient, a little Tabasco. Gives it a little heat and a little acidity. I'm gonna stir that, and then I'm gonna check it for seasoning. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I left the salt and pepper out as an ingredient because you're never done seasoning. Let's try this out, a little tasting spoon. Oh, it's amazing. All right, that's all done. We're gonna plate it up now. See how this thing turned out? I don't know if you guys can see this real well, but these biscuits turned out absolutely amazing, and they've got beautiful cheese skirts on them, which I know I enjoy. So we're gonna do 3 of those right there. I'm gonna take this gravy, put it over the top like that, a little like that. And just because we wanna, we'll put a little extra on the side. Right there, and then we're gonna do a little garnish on this. This. Not very much, stuff is potent. Perfect. There we have the Foothill Grill biscuits and gravy.